Yes. Good evening, ma'am. Since I made this video for my chapter 6 at night. So before anything else, before I move on to my answers to this chapter 6, why demo or video reporting I made for this chapter? It's because I want my ePortfolio to have a different concepts from chapter 1 to chapter 6, which is, as you can see on my ePortfolio, there's a difference on how I presented my answers in these chapters. So now I will going to answers the questions for this chapter 6 through this video audio video podcast. Yes, audio video podcast. So moving on for this is my final chapter, the chapter 6. And for the answers for my chapter 6 are, for the first question or problem to be solved in chapter 6 are under analysis. So in analysis, for the first question is, how do you relate this quote to the issue in labeling special education? So there's a quote and the quote is from a secret teacher, which is, if everyone spent less time fearing about the many ways in which aren't perfect and perceiving their natural variations as defects, our job would be much easier. So that quote is from Secret Teacher. For being simple, not to be more explanation or not this video to become long. My answer to this question is issue on labeling on special education is that our topic for our subject or our subject for this curriculum in this field is foundations of special and inclusive education. So when it comes to this quote, the issue on labeling special education is that if you have these students with disabilities or with students with impairment, if you're going to teach those students, or if you're going to teach those children, if you're going to be with these people with disability, don't look at them that they have these abnormalities, or that they have this kind of illness that so contagious, because this disabilities is not contagious, or it can't harm us. They will not going to harm us. So if you see these people who is with a group, with their peer groups, just look at them in a normal way. Look at the bright side, not look at the dark side. Because for things to be more easier, don't look at the things that you will not understand, on why it happened, on how it happens, where it came from. Just look the way like the others being normal. Look at them like a normal one, like the others. That's all. Just look at them on the normal way, so that you don't have to be stressed. Don't be stressed. Don't think too much. In this way, your job will be much easier. So that's my answer for this analysis. So moving on is under the application. So under application, there are two questions, which is the number one is a point counterpoint essay. So in point counterpoint essay, the topic is labeling a child with a physical disability rather than mental disability more harmful or more helpful. I already attached here the essay, which is debated by two persons since it's a point counterpoint essay. So I have my side and Edsel have his side of point of view. So for me, my point of view here is it's helpful because labeling a child with a physical disability rather than mental disability is more harmful or more helpful, because if a child is just only have this impairment, uh, had this impairment with have this physical impairment or being disabled physically, this child or this person can do more things than those with mental disability. Why? Because they can do physical things always. They can still do physical things, but in a slower way, not in a faster way. But still, if you label them with those also, because we can say like, diba, in school, you're giving an activity with your class. So this activity is not just only activity because you're citing there in which part are they good and which part they need more assistance. So this is only similar to this, which is you're going to label them true on how they are capable on these things. If they can do faster, okay, they can be in this peer group who are fast. If they can do more slower, they can be in this group which is more slower, just for them to realize that they are belong, just for them to realize that I am also normal, because even if I slow, there's also other people who are slow, right? So don't for me it's helpful to label child with physical disability rather than mental disability. So for me, that's my answer. I don't know for others, because we have our own different point of views when it comes to these issues. But overall, I know there's no wrong or there's no wrong or perfect answer for this, because it only on how you express or how you explain your side. So that's for me. And for the next question under this application, should certain physical disabilities or certain levels of a disability be labeled at all? Of course, yes. Because there are this disability that still can do things than this others who have this disability that can do or not capable already of doing things. Those who have this strong, not strong, but high intense of disability rather than those mild. Because when we say disabilities, this is not about just being inborn, because not all disabled person are disabled since birth. There are those who are disabled just because of some illness that they have been through before. But for this labeling, yes, but for a certain levels of disability. But overall, for me, even if it's disabled or not, in a normal way, you should look at them as a normal person, not people who have this kind of illness that you don't want to be with. Just be what they call this, be fair, because we are all we have our own way of living, and you need to respect others even if they're disabled and or even they're normal. Well, that's all for that. So moving on, ma'am, for my next report for my is regarding this reflection. Under this reflection is an film viewing Miracle of Life, which is already been done for last chapter 5. I already have posted there my reflection. But for this, since you're asking for another reflection for this movie entitled Miracle of Life, so my reflection for this movie is that same as my answer for last chapter, you will ask on how life arose, right? How life arose is a question that is fundamental to both philosophy and science. Yes, you will ask, who am I? Why am I here? How am I created? How do I make sense of this world? Well, that's the question you're going to ask. Why you born, or why you born, and why you are here. So in the video Miracle of Life, you see what happens. So therefore, there's a meeting between two cells. A cell, a sperm cell of a male, and an egg cell of a female. Then, if they meet, and if they're both fertile, so the fertilization will start. And then because of that, that's how we started. Like on the video, you will see there, the flow on how we made, on how our parents made us, after they made us, on how we evolve inside the womb of a woman, of our mother. You will see there step by step, even if it was just only a video or another, but you will realize na, oh, so this is the miracle of life. This is how we made from sperm cell and egg cell and now into a human. So that's all for that reflection. And then the next one is research. Research regarding the developmental disabilities. So as you can see, I attached link for this here for the info, which is the link. The file that provided in this link is a research file from the development for the developmental disabilities. And for a brief explanation, just only an introduction for this research regarding the developmental disabilities. It says there that, it's written there that those with disabilities or persons with disabilities has a positive and negative factors that can affect to those normal people, which is in the negative effect is that adjustment problem. First of all, is the adjustment problem. Why you're going to adjust? Because you are with this person who is disabled. Because we all know, if we have we all know that not all those person with not all those persons with disability can cope up fast than us who are normal. But the positive effect is that you're being more patient. Okay, you're being more patient when it comes to helping, studying, teaching those peers of you with disability. You will know your capacity on how handling this kind of situation. So for me, well, in sorts of things, there will always a positive and negative effect. It's just only on us, on how we will handle this kind of situation, if this will affect us negatively or will affect us positively. So for me, that's all. And for further information about this research, just click the link and you will see there the more information and the more broad generalized information for this research. So moving on is the assessment, which is here in assessment, it says compare and contrast impairment, disability, and at risk. So for me here, actually I also attach here a link for this, but in this, as I can see about here is that when you say compare and contrast impairment, so the well, they have this comparison, but it's still it's more likely they are the same, but they have this big difference when it comes to their what they call this meaning. Okay, so maybe they are, well, that's why maybe this assessment called compare and contrast impairment, disability, and at risk. So in impairment, when you say impairment, uh, when we say impairment, impairment is any loss or abnormality of sociological, physiological, or anatomical structure or function. So therefore, if we say impairment, this is the cause of a person's illness or a person's being disabled. That's why he became that's why he or she called persons with disability because of impairment. And if we say disability, this is the any restriction or lack resulting from an impairment. So, of ability to perform an activity manner or within the range considered normal for a human being. So, it only means that you're disabled is because it is the cause of the impairment that happened to you. So, if you have this impairment since birth, you will going to be disabled in some way. Uh, it uh, it depends on what kind of impairment that will happen to you for you to become disabled and this to be called as the person with disability. That's all. But most and for all, so that's so the maybe if you the comparison of these two is that you're not going to do you will not do things as a normal anymore because of this two. I think that's the comparison, not being normal, and the contrast is that disability is caused by impairment. So that's all for me, just being brief, that's all, just to finish this discussion because it uh, it will lead to some sort of errors, I think. That's all, ma'am. And for more information, ma'am, just click the link and you will see more for further explanation for this question, for this problem. Thank you for watching and listening. So for that, ma'am, thank you for your patience listening to my video, to my explanation, and that will wrap up the final chapter of this module. The different concepts of my module, the final blow of this chapter, the chapter 6, which is audio video podcast. Well, that's all since it's already evening. Good night and thank you, ma'am, for watching and listening again. Bye bye.